Hello everybody, I'm Steve and welcome to Green Side Up. Now today I want to talk about figs, so let's crack on with that. So I'm planting up a fig today. I've had this for a couple of years now, and this thing here, and I grew this from a cutting that I got from a lady in the village who grows it up a wall in her back garden, and I took a couple of cuttings. So this is a couple of years old, and I'm planting it up in this 30 litre tub because I'm not entirely sure where I want this yet. So I want to be able to transport it, move it around. I know where I want to put it, and I will put it there when I finish this, but I'm not sure that it's going to stay there. I want to see how well it grows from spring onwards next year before I commit to growing it there. And then I'll either do two things. I'll either put this into a bigger tub, again with handles, or I'll make a purpose-built little planting area in a bed. I want to put it in my new polytunnel really, but figs grow best when they're contained, so you don't really want to just throw it straight in the ground and leave it as that, if you can help it. So if I'm going to plant it in the ground, what I'll do is I'll use a couple of big paving slabs, put them in on end, form a square box and plant that in there to contain the roots, and this will grow better. But first of all, I just want to see if this will grow well enough in that small tunnel to warrant it staying there. So the other option is to just get a bigger pot with handles so that I can move it down the line again if necessary. So that's it. I put a little bit of bone meal in the bottom of this, in the first layer of soil, and this is just used compost. I don't want a lot of nitrogen. I don't want it to go mad with leaves right now. I want the roots to grow, and they've got a month or so in that back tunnel where they can get away. It should be all right, and it should kick off in spring with that. So that's used compost, just a bit of grit mixed in with it, and we'll see how it does. But this is destined for the new polytunnel. And this fig variety, this one is brown turkey, we believe. We're not 100% sure, but that's what she thinks she planted, because the plants I took the cutting of is well over 30 years old. So but anyway, there we go. I've got two more of these actually. I'll pot on into smaller pots just to keep them growing, and if this kicks off okay, I'll give the other two away, which is brilliant, you know. Anyway, that's the first job of the day done. So here's the new polytunnel, and in here you can see I've put the fig in here. This is where I want it to grow, and what I'm going to have down this very narrow bed down here is all along this edge here will be the support for a bench that's going to go the full length of this area, and the benches will tip up like they do in the small tunnel to make temporary benches, so that eventually after the seedlings and things come off this benching, they can be lifted off completely out of the tunnel or just lifted up out the way like they are in a small tunnel, and I can grow tomatoes in this bed. Now, something I've learned from the grapevine in the main tunnel is that foliage from plants that you're trying to grow around the tomatoes can get in the way. So what I need with this plant is for it to grow much taller, because I want a couple of laterals going across the tunnel for this fig. One about there where the hoop meets the bar there, the crop bar, and one about central over here, so they're well out of the way, above head height, and any tomatoes that are growing in this bed won't interfere with the fig, and the fig won't interfere with the tomatoes. But the plant's only sort of getting on for 3 foot tall in that pot, and it's going to be even lower than it is presently when all that timber from underneath moves. So what I need to do, I think, is over this next year, I'm going to have to grow some of these laterals out, some of these little shoots here. I'm going to have to allow them to grow out and train them along. This will allow the plant to photosynthesize, and therefore it should then grow taller and taller and taller. And then I'll grow another lateral across here coming out from the plant, and it'll grow a bit taller again. And eventually, you know, a couple of years down the line, and hopefully I'll be able to cut out the lower laterals and end up with a stem coming up and just the two that I want. So it's kind of a 5-year plan, and I haven't really decided yet whether to plant this in the ground or leave it in a pot that I can move. Probably in a pot for the first couple of years so I can move it around, and hopefully next year I'll get a slightly bigger pot, or maybe the year after, to pot that on. So it's a time thing. I say it's going to be 4 or 5 years if it grows well in here before I'm anywhere near getting a crop off this plant. But that's it for now. I also have 2 more fig plants that I've also grown from the cuttings that I got from Rosemary up in the village. I think this one on the left is lending itself to being grown almost like an espalier, or certainly in a star-shaped fashion. I might try and grow that up a fence somewhere, or I don't know, maybe somewhere else. But I think both will need potting on, and I'm going to do that very soon. And then I might try and train that in a pot into a fan shape to grow elsewhere. So that could be very interesting as well. We'll see where we end up with that. I think this small spindly bit at the back can be cut off and be left with 3 nice strong branches on that. So we'll see where we end up with those as well. So that's going to be an interesting experiment, growing those figs on and seeing what they do, when they do it, and how well they do it in the various locations I'm going to put them. You can follow along too, just by hitting the red subscribe button down there, free of charge. And you can see how, you know, how these things develop over the next couple of years. But that's it for this one. Look after yourselves, everyone. Please stay safe, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ra now.